I know, right? Thank you, guys. So great to be here in Chicago. I really do love this town. I actually once went on a date with a girl from Chicago. This was like 10 years ago, back before I was even a comedian yet. Back then, I was just a regular old piece of shit like you guys. But I'll never forget this date, We meet up at a bar, we start drinking, we start talking, we're laughing together, we're connecting. It was great. But then we leave the bar. We go back to her place. And as soon as we walk in the front door, she passes out cold on her couch. Now, I went to college. I knew I had a million options. But I'm a gentleman, so I did the smart thing. I just got a blanket, I tucked her in, and I left her a note that said, "You got raped." Thank you. I feel like it's very important, very important to open up my show with a rape joke. Just to see what kind of crowd I'm dealing with here. You guys are gonna be great. But if you were upset, or you were offended in any way, please don't worry. I've only got 2 more rape jokes. And I wait about 15 minutes. But don't think I'm a bad person for making that joke. Don't think I'm a bad guy for saying that. I'm a good guy. Like, I would never hit a woman. I would never hit a woman. Even if she had a knife or a stutter. That's not how I do business. In fact, I might be one of the greatest guys of all time. Like, I've got a kid in Africa. Yeah. That I feed. That I clothe. That I school. That I inoculate for 75 cents a day. Which is practically nothing, compared to what it costs to send them there. You guys are doing great so far. I love performing in Chicago. The only weird thing about performing in Chicago for me is after all my shows, everybody just wants to do drugs with me. I'd be like, "Anthony, that was hilarious. I got a joint on me. Let's go smoke it." "Hey, Jeselnik, amazing job, as usual." "I've got mushrooms in my backpack. Let's eat them." And I've got to keep telling them the same thing I'm going to tell you guys right now. "Hey, ass, I'm famous. Give it to me." I think my friend Jeff is gay. I don't know. I'm so bad with names. Smart crowd. When I was a kid, my friends and I got arrested for vandalizing a graveyard. $10,000 in damages. But we had a great lawyer, who knocked it down to criminal trespassing and necrophilia. I make a lot of jokes about death because it's hilarious. My whole family's like that, kind of, you know. In fact, well before I was even born, my great-grandmother threw herself in front of a bus. Police tried to say she was committing suicide, but the family knew that she was just trying to stop civil rights. Yesterday, I accidentally hit a little kid with my car. It wasn't serious. Nobody saw me. And people get weird when kids die. No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Like about a month ago, some kids in my neighborhood were playing hide and go seek, and one of them ended up in an abandoned refrigerator. It's all anybody talked about for weeks. I said, who cares? How many kids you know get to die a winner? I assume you guys all knew who you were coming to see tonight. But if you didn't, you sure as know now. Like, one thing I've never understood is like the foot fetish. Like, are you guys together right here? Yeah? How long you guys been together?
5 years.
5 years, wow. Do you ever suck on her feet? No? Would you if you had a different girlfriend? Or are you like across the board, no feet? You don't really mind it, you just don't do it to her because you have mistresses. I get it. Because I'm across the board, no feet. I once went on a date with a girl where we went hiking. Her idea. And while we're hiking, she gets bit by a snake in between two toes. And I had to suck out the poison. So she's dead. What's your name? Where are you from, Bridget? The suburbs. That sure narrows it down. What do you do?
I'm a full-time student.
You're a full-time student. Okay, what do you study?
Psychology.
Psychology. Where do you go to school?
Rockford College.
Brockford College? So you're not going to be a good psychologist. Have you ever been on a blind date before? You ever do that? No? You're lucky. I went on a blind date once, just once, and I will never do it again. It was the biggest disaster of all time. She ended up being a burn victim. By the end of the night. I mean, it was like the worst. I've spent the past 2 years looking for my ex-girlfriend's killer, but no one will do it. My ex-girlfriend owned a parakeet. Did you guys hear what I just said? She owned a parakeet. Oh my God. That thing never shut up. But the bird was cool. My ex-girlfriend had a lot of really annoying habits. I think the worst was she loved to read women's magazines, like Cosmo, or things like Cosmo. And she would flip straight to the relationship quiz. And not only would she present that to me, as if it was like a fun activity for us to do together, even though every question is designed to my entire world up. But even worse is she would get mad at my answers and make me change them so we'd get the best score. I'll never forget the last time we played that game. She was like, Anthony, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, living or dead, who would it be? And I said, I don't know, Caligula. And she goes, really, Caligula? That's your answer? That's what you're gonna say to me, your girlfriend? Are you sure? I said, oh, I'm sorry, baby. Let me change that. I'd have lunch with you, and you'd be dead. Yeah, we're not together anymore. She's got a new boyfriend now. They just moved in together. And I've heard rumors that he's abusive, which makes me want to go over there with a baseball bat and then blame it on her boyfriend. But I don't want to sound like a misogynist up here. My ex-girlfriend wasn't like a bad person, really. She wasn't a bad girl at all. But she was terrible in bed. Terrible in bed. I mean, she would just lie there, screaming, no! That was rape joke number 2, baby doll. Yeah, clap it up. But my girlfriend now is great. My girlfriend now is almost perfect. And she hates that I tell rape jokes. Hates it. Says, Anthony, how could you make light of something as terrible as rape after I told you that I got raped in high school? And I said, baby, because I don't believe you. My girlfriend and I argue a lot. It's mostly her arguing with me kind of thing. I should just keep my mouth shut. Every fight we get into is my fault. I should just keep my mouth shut, but I can't because I'm so funny. A couple of nights ago, we go to a party. Right? We get trashed, completely wasted. We wake up in bed the next morning, completely hungover. And I know I should just keep my mouth shut. But instead, I roll over and I say, listen, baby, don't get mad. But I think your mom tried to have sex with me last night. And she hit the roof. She goes, Anthony, that's impossible. And I said, oh, well, in that case, you should always wear makeup. I love that joke so much. Here's why. Did you guys hear the sounds you made? That was the worst thing I've said tonight? I've told 3 rape jokes. I like to play pranks on my girlfriend, keep things fresh for me, make me laugh, She hates it. But like the other night, I put saran wrap over the toilet seat, Which doesn't sound that original. But she's bulimic. I like that you laugh until I look at you and then you stop laughing. Because you don't want to give me the satisfaction. It's great. You seem like a cool girl in a completely different environment. But we make it work, Like, how long have you guys been together right here? 3 years, okay. What would you say is like the secret to like a good, long relationship? Communication. Wrong. The secret is trying new things together, right? Especially in the bedroom. Right? Like the other night, my girlfriend and I are in bed together. She says, Anthony, I want you to pee on me. No, I have never thought about peeing on a woman in my entire life. Right? Never even imagined it before. But then I got the green light. And apparently it's my thing. Like, I just jumped up right away. But as soon as that begins, she starts screaming at me. Like it's my fault she talks in her sleep. No big deal for me. My girlfriend yells at me all the time. She yells at me all the time. And again, I'm a gentleman. I never think it's okay to yell back at a woman no matter what. When you saw how I handled that, right? I never think it's okay to yell back at a woman. But the other night, she yelled at me for so long and so loud that the cops came to the door, which is embarrassing. Because now I've got to answer my own door and say, officers, I'm so sorry. There is no reason for you to be here tonight. I already tased her. I've got this friend named Kevin. I call him a friend. More of an acquaintance, really. One of those people who think they're way better friends with you than they actually are. Like the other day, Kevin says to me, hey man, you know what I like to do when I'm all by myself and no one's around? And before I can say, hey, we're not really friends. He says, I like to take peanut butter and smear it all over myself and then let my dog lick it off. I said, dude, you have got to get yourself a girlfriend. I'll trade you mine for that dog. Being a comedian is the greatest job in the world. Like, greatest job in the world once you get to my level. The only thing I don't like is all the travel. I'm always flying somewhere, always in an airport. Even flying into Chicago a couple days ago, 2.5-hour flight delay. I'm stuck in an airport bar, talking to some random ass. And I got nowhere to go. So I'm like, hey man, what do you do? And he says, and I quote, oh, nothing right now. But I used to be a priest. As in, oh, right? But I got nowhere to go. So we keep talking, we keep drinking. Finally, 2 hours goes by. Guy gets up, he says, hey man, I gotta catch my flight. But I don't wanna lie to you. I used to be a priest, I got kicked out, because I molested a kid. Now, here's the thing. After talking to this guy and getting to know this guy for 2 hours, I have to admit he was actually a really cool guy. Like, if you could forget about, all that Jesus bull. Yeah, that's a favorite. I'm probably going to tell it again later. But it's not all bad news with me, My grandfather turns 100 years old next month. Maybe. I'm really skeptical. I don't think I ever got over my grandmother's death when I was a kid. My grandmother died from a heart attack during my 9th birthday party. Literally while she was eating cake. And I guess that must have screwed me up a little bit, I mean, I still have birthday parties, but now I'm just careful what I wish for. Sure, my dad had his problems, he had his issues. My dad was a big-time alcoholic, major league alcoholic, blackout every night kind of alcoholic. But to his credit, my dad never once laid a finger on either me or my mom, not once. And I don't know if it was just because he loved us so much or if he just hated my sisters. But either way, he was a great dad. I remember a tough time for me. I was like 10 years old. My parents called me into their bedroom. They say, Anthony, we want to get a divorce. You have to decide which one of us you want to live with. And I was a 10-year-old kid. I didn't know any better. I just said, Dad, I want to live with Dad. It was heartbreaking. My mom just looked at the floor and said, well, whatever you want, Anthony. And my dad just said, I don't want a divorce anymore. And maybe the most uncomfortable moment of my life was when my dad gave me the sex talk. Oh, God. The old man was into some really crazy But then maybe the greatest moment of my life ever, I think this is like a universal thing for guys. I'm 12 years old, I'm sneaking around my house, and I found my dad's porn in the back of the attic. That was a great day. That was a game changer for me. But then the worst day of my life was the day I found my mom's porn in the back of that video store. I told that joke recently on Conan. That's right, Conan. And immediately afterwards, my mom called me on the phone. And she said, Anthony, what the Do you really have to make up a joke that makes me sound like I work in pornography and then say it on Conan? That's my least favorite joke that you have. And I just said, well, Mom, that's only because you haven't heard the other jokes I tell about you. That they are not allowed to let me say on Conan. Per example. My mom is crazy. Right? People always like to joke, oh, my mom's crazy. My mom is crazy. Right? Her entire house is filled with nothing but pictures of Princess Diana. And they're all from right after the accident. Most of them she drew, like it's really up, you guys. And my mom's been having a hard time lately, you know. She just found out she has to have both of her breasts removed if she's ever gonna be good at golf. Yeah, that cannot be easy to hear. So I went home to visit. I'm from Pittsburgh originally. You know, just hang out with my mom for a little bit, you know? Yeah, congrats. Just want to go home and hang out with her for a little bit, you know, help her out, cheer her up. But all my mom cares about now is the lottery and me running errands for her, like every day. Every day it's Anthony, go play my numbers. Go play my numbers, please, I don't want to miss out today. Finally, after a week of this, I had to say to her, Mom, are you out of your goddamn mind? Don't you know you've got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than me doing you a favor? Now, you guys have been a great crowd tonight. You've gone with me everywhere I've wanted you to go. But you've just been sitting there this whole time thinking, Anthony, this is all well and good. But where are your offensive jokes? Where are your showstoppers, if you will? Well, guys, I saved those for the end. I'm going to tell you all a series of jokes right now that are going to get increasingly more offensive. I like that enthusiasm. Let's see how far it carries. They say it's easy. They say it's easy to make fun of retarded people. But let me tell you guys something, it is not. You have really got to explain it to them. That was the first one. Every night my girlfriend comes home from work and she brings with her a houseplant. She's like, Anthony, I had to pick this up. We need a houseplant in our apartment. And every night I make her return it. I say, no way, baby. You can't take care of a houseplant. You couldn't even keep your baby alive. Two for two, huh? We just found out my little brother has a peanut allergy. A peanut allergy, which is very serious, I know. But still, I feel like my parents are totally overreacting. They caught me eating a tiny little bag of airline peanuts, and they kicked me out of his funeral. I feel like some of you guys might be too nice to laugh at some of these jokes. And that's okay, not everybody has a great sense of humor. You guys will probably love my little nephew. He's like 6 years old, so cute. I talk to him every day on the phone. And he's unbelievable. He's got like the greatest imagination ever. He's either gonna be an incredible artist someday, or he really did get molested. I wasn't even laughing about that one. I was thinking about what's coming. I feel like I need to say, I really believe this, that being a mother seems like one of the toughest jobs in the world, right? Like, literally, right below comedian. So to me, if a mother does her best, then in my book, she's a good mom, right? Now, my mom did her very best. Unfortunately, she was also a terrible person. Like my mom, for most of her life, and this is true, my mom, for most of her life, was a Holocaust denier. Right? Does everybody know what that means? I mean, she couldn't believe the Holocaust happened. It's like the worst thing you can be. And it was terrible for the entire family to have to deal with. Until finally, a couple of years ago, we had an intervention. And we had a rabbi come into the home, had him walk her through the history of the Jewish people. And then he made her watch Schindler's List. And after that, my mom did a complete 180. Now, she can't believe it only happened once. I'm not a religious person. I would call myself an atheist. I don't have a good story behind it. I'm just reasonable. And my girlfriend has got the greatest story behind why she's not religious anymore. So when she was a kid, 12 years old, her parents nailed a 25-pound crucifix to the wall right above her bed. And about 2 weeks later, in the middle of the night, the crucifix falls off the wall and leaves a 2-inch gash in the back of her dad's head. Whether you laughed or not, you got to admit, that's a great story. Now, this is the ideal time to tell you guys that I love to meet fans after the show. I like when people come up and say, Anthony, you're a genius. Anthony, best show I've ever seen. And that's it. I don't ever want to hear anything else. If you've got a bone to pick with me over something I've said tonight, instead, you should just shut the up. Because seriously, I know more about comedy than you do. And you came to see me. Like I said, shut the up. But still, even after I've just said all that, you still feel like you need to come up and bitch. Well, then I will be as polite as I can possibly be. However, it is ill-advised. Because you will end up as a joke in my act. Much like the blind guy who came up and complained to me in Seattle after a show. He walked up and said, Anthony, Anthony. Why didn't you tell any blind jokes tonight? I came here to hear blind jokes tonight. And I said, well, here's a blind joke. Another good one for me was the lesbian in Portland who ran up after a show. And I know she was a lesbian because she ran up and yelled out, "Anthony, I'm a lesbian." And I thought you were really funny tonight, but you're just lucky you didn't make any lesbian jokes up there, because I would have gotten really mad if you had made fun of any lesbians tonight. And I wanted to say to her, hey, do you realize that that makes you a terrible person and that you have no sense of humor? Plus, you're an idiot. If you felt okay laughing at all the other messed up things I joked about, but you'd have gotten really upset if I'd made fun of you or something you cared about. And I was gonna say all that, but then I remembered Anthony. She's a lesbian. She knows. My second favorite post-show interaction of all time had to be, I was in Boston a couple years ago, and a very drunk girl, they're always very drunk, ran up to me. And she screams out, "You should never make fun of the Holocaust." And I said, why? You know, just to be a dick. And she says, because I lost family in the Holocaust. And I said, well, you don't look Jewish. And she said, listen, ass, there are certain lines you're not supposed to cross, certain boundaries you're never supposed to push. And I said, hey, 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 I just gave you a compliment. But my favorite, the best, most unbeatable, never gonna happen again post-show interaction of all time had to be just about a year ago. I was performing in Orlando, Florida, home of Casey Anthony. And this is right after the trial, like immediately after the trial. And I said, listen, everybody, I don't understand what the big deal is here. Of course, Casey Anthony is innocent. If she's guilty of anything, it's killing her baby. Now, after the show, I'm taking pictures, signing tits. You know how it is. And a guy walks up to me, totally sober, looking very upset. And he says, you need to do me a favor, which is a terrible way to start. He says, you need to never tell another Casey Anthony joke ever again. And I said, why? You know, just to be a dick. And he says, I'll never forget this. He says, because her daughter, Kaylee Anthony, is my niece. And I said, bull. At which point he takes out his phone, sadly hits a couple buttons, and he shows me a picture of him holding little Kaylee Anthony in happier times, of course. And he says, see, you son of a bitch. And I said, no, man, I believe you. I just mean she was your niece. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you so much.